The following is a presentation based on Kurt Collins' article, Skylite, the project to mimic UFOs. Kurt has granted permission for his article to be turned into a video. I thank him for his kindness, and I really encourage everyone to check out his fascinating blog, The Saucers That Time Forgot. Video link in the description. And now, without further ado, let's step back in time and take a look at one of the most intriguing and less well-known episodes of the U.S. government's involvement with the UFO topic. The U.S. government asked the McDonnell-Douglas Aerospace Company to research the construction of an imitation flying saucer in 1970. At the time, the United States was led by President Richard Nixon, and Richard Helms served as director of the Central Intelligence Agency. The Cold War with Russia was hot. The U.S. was mired in the Vietnam War and facing an expansion of the Soviet Union's military forces in Cuba. The UFO project may have been an offshoot of a prior contract with the CIA. In 1967, the CIA was doing business with McDonnell-Douglas Company, and Project Aquiline was to develop expendable unmanned aerial reconnaissance vehicles. According to CIA files, concentrated study was performed on a wide range of aerodynamic lift devices including balloons, ballistic glider, powered glider, and helicopter types for this application. The powered glider was selected. Aquiline was a small bird-like drone, test flown at Area 51. Meanwhile, McDonnell-Douglas had a study project from 1967 to 1970, led by Dr. Robert M. Wood, with the goal of duplicating the performance and propulsion reported in UFOs. Dr. Joseph M. Brown talked about working on the Advanced Propulsion Research Group in his 2004 book, The Grand Unified Theory of Physics. Dr. Robert M. Wood was the Deputy Director of Research at Douglas Aircraft Company in Santa Monica, California. Wood believed that unidentified flying objects, UFOs, were spacecraft built and manned by extraterrestrials. Furthermore, he had great confidence in his ability. If extraterrestrials can build a flying saucer, so can I. Describing the team, Dr. Brown said, quote, Dr. Darrell B. Harmon Jr. held beliefs about UFOs, similar to Dr. Wood, that UFOs were powered by anti-gravity propulsion, and I was researching gravity. So he hired me in spite of my disbelief in extraterrestrials. Thus, the Wood-Harmon-Brown team was formed to invent a new propulsion system. In addition to the mathematical physicist Leon A. Steinert, we hired an experimentalist, Harvey Bjornlai, a retired Los Angeles, California police detective, Paul Wilson, a UFO buff, Stan Friedman, and a psychic, Chan P. Thomas. Our budget was less than $100,000 per year. End quote. Dr. Wood described the group's origin in his article for the October 2008 issue of the MUFON Journal. McDonnell-Douglas studied UFOs in 1960s, saying, "We opened up an account with an insipid title, Advanced Concepts, and internally called it the BITBR Project, Boys in the Back Room." Wood said he managed a team, saying he devoted only about 10% of his time to the project. Only Brown, Thomas, and Wilson were full-time, and later Friedman. During its 4 years of operation and $500,000 expended, the group conducted research including everything from lab experiments to field studies, investigating haunted houses, ESP, and interviewing UFO contactees. In the BITBR 59-page Advanced Vehicle Concepts Research Presentation, May 2, 1968, the team summarized the goals of the project for management and stated what they had achieved to date. Page 50 mentioned the goal of building a UFO-like spacecraft, a DFO, possibly for Douglas Flying Object. A DFO can be built within our scientific limits. It also mentioned analysis and duplication of UFO data. The presentation closed by asking for another year's funding and stated, "Bring in DoD at end of year if results warrant." The company hoped to build flying saucers for the U.S. government. That almost happened. In a section near the end of Wood's MUFON article, he revealed, "Covert applications. The only contact with the government about the project came towards the end of the spring of 1970, when there was interest expressed by one of the intelligence agencies. This resulted in a draft proposal to mimic, imitate, or duplicate the observables associated with UFOs. We called this potential opportunity Project Skylite, and prepared a good deal of technical information in anticipation of contract work. It never materialized with McDonnell-Douglas to my knowledge. The timing for Skylite was strange. The U.S. government shut down Project Blue Book at the end of 1969, so this would seem to have been unrelated to any study of UFOs. They must have been working towards some other goal. Earlier Project Aquiline CIA documents stated that the obvious risk is loss of an unmanned aircraft over denied territory and the resulting political implications therefrom. They thought that since the aircraft was small and unarmed, the risk was minimal. However, it's possible the CIA considered developing another spy platform, something that would be unrecoverable. Vanish, like something unearthly. BITBR hired W. Paul Wilson Jr. for his detective skills to be used in interviewing UFO witnesses, but he was also an engineer, and he also assisted the team in technical research. Files on the McDonnell-Douglas UFO study and Project Skylite surfaced when UFO archivist Lewis Taylor purchased them from the owner of a house previously occupied by Paul Wilson's widow. The documents were found rotting away out in the barn. Material on the BITBR study was published online back in 2007. The Project Skylite material was finally published online by Lewis Taylor in October 2020, consisting of documents and parametric studies, all handwritten by Paul Wilson between April and June of 1970. One of the most intriguing documents in this catalog of material was this page of notes titled Electrical and Mechanical Systems to Produce Simulated UFO Observables, dated April 5, 1970, containing the following notes. Illusion of physical objects with three-dimensional positivity in space. Long and short-term affects. Sensed by visual, acoustical, photographic, radio, and other EM instrumentation. Large, very light transparent bags inflatable with ionizable combustible gases. Spherical or saucer-shaped. Bags should be constructed of highly combustible materials that completely vaporize or disintegrate without residue when contained gases or plasma is ignited. Ionized contained gas is by means of high-energy radar beams, local or objective operated. The geometric configuration of inflated bags are held to those dimensions that would resonate with the frequencies of exciting radiation. Parabolic umbrellas for maximum energy concentration. Spherical resonate cavities for maximum energy absorption. Gas mixture and/or system may contain short half-life high-energy radioactive materials to initiate ionizations and emit particle radiation signals. Combustible gases at critical mixtures and/or temperatures may be ignited by radio-controlled igniters, laser beams, or by spontaneous combustion at predetermined times. UFO simulator is how the project was referred to in early internal documents. BITBR went well beyond just spoofing the appearance of a UFO in flight. They also wanted to duplicate other UFO observables, such as the shape, illumination, and sounds that were reported. Apparently for this project, duplicating high-speed flight was not a goal except perhaps in the vanishing of the balloon when it disintegrated. As for the radar cross-section and electromagnetic signature they desired, that would be accomplished with a metallic coating for maximum reflectivity. The aerial platform was intended to be built around Edmund Scientific giant weather balloons in the 8 and 16-foot sizes. It was determined that an airborne platform alone was insufficient for generating the spectrum of desired effects, and a ground base would be required to generate some of the electromagnetic properties and secondary characteristics. The timing of the U.S. government's interest in the BITBR project is strange. It came shortly after the Condon study's conclusion was published in 1969 that there was no scientific benefit to studying UFOs. The closure of Project Blue Book followed, so it would seem the U.S. government's interest here was not scientific. Various notes throughout the Skylite documents give a clue as to the purpose of the project, for example in this passage, which reads, "Significant information as to an observer's observational capabilities, with decoy and confusion factors." There's no clear documentation that any Project Skylite flight experiments took place, but some of the parametric studies suggest there may have at least been a few balloon tests. Describing the overall BITBR experiments to duplicate UFO characteristics, Dr. Wood said they tried to see whether the speed of light could be influenced by a large magnetic field, and later a second attempt to use magnetic field measured whether there was any change in forces with respect to gravity. Again, the result was null. The lack of results from the UFO study prompted McDonnell-Douglas to spend the money elsewhere, and would said, the consensus was that we should cancel the BITBR project. Skylite died with it. If the U.S. government pursued the simulated UFO project, it was without Wood's McDonnell-Douglas team. The CIA responded to our FOIA request for records relating to Project Skylite with a form letter about UFO document requests. For other U.S. government attempts to duplicate UFO characteristics and performance, see the article from May 6, 2020, UFO Study Programs and U.S. Military Technology. For more on deception and exploitation of the UFOs by military intelligence, see the 2010 book by Mark Pilkington and John Lundberg, Mirage Men: A Journey in Disinformation, Paranoia, and UFOs. You can also check out the documentation relating to the McDonnell-Douglas UFO study and the CIA's Project Aquiline in the description below. Thanks a bunch for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.